who once said, "An ounce of practice is worth more than tons of preaching." In more familiar terms, actions speak louder than words. Even an ounce, which is enough liquid to fill the spoon you just held up. We all know Dr. King was a charismatic preacher. He could really bring it. People listened, and they were inspired and challenged to live a bold life. A life dedicated to making a radical impact and leaving a lasting legacy. If Dr. King were here this morning, I believe he would encourage us to stand strong against our unjust immigration system, even if this means having our names slandered and potentially endure threat of harm or death. Death isn't some hypothetical what if to many immigrants today. I've taken a couple of life-changing trips down to the Mexico-U.S. border, and I've met families who don't know if their sons and daughters are alive today. I could share myriad of stories of my time on the border, and I think I'll sum it up by saying this. If you have a chance to meet an undocumented immigrant, whether that's down on the border or here in our own community, do it. This will take the heated political debate and boil it down to looking in someone's eyes and connecting on a human level. No longer are immigrants a number you hear about in the news. Their name you'll never forget, a hand you've held, and a face you looked into. Meeting people personally affected by our broken immigration system is just one aspect of traveling down to the border. During my time there, I also realized that not only does our country depend upon immigrant labor, it cannot survive without it. I guarantee you that today all of us have eaten food that was either picked, washed, packed, or prepared by the hands of undocumented migrants. This screams hypocrisy. We benefit from their hard work, and we don't acknowledge them as human beings by denying them the ability to live in this country without fear of deportation at any moment. They provide us with a standard of living we expect, and we're not giving them the same opportunities at life, education, and freedom. We're exploiting them. I don't think this is what Dr. King envisioned when he said, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed." We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And these families who sustain our economy are wondering right now if they'll ever see their loved ones again in this life. And this is even closer to home for me personally. One of my dearest friends has a sister, Susan, who lives in Texas. Susan married Javier, who has lived in the U.S. for many years on a green card, has one kid and another on the way. Javier also owns a successful business. Since our current policy requires migrants to travel back to their country of origin to extend their green card, Javier did so. And after realizing the prospect of returning in time to see his child be born was absolutely impossible, he decided to cross over without papers. And after being caught by Border Patrol twice, he's now spending 6 months in a detention facility and must wait 10 years to just begin the process of applying for documents to live in the country. One of the nonviolent goals in the civil disobedience movement led by Dr. King was to fill the jails with so many political prisoners so the unjust laws being broken, like what Javier did, could no longer be enforced. This morning, when I was diligently preparing for my speech by surfing Facebook, I came across a new fantastic quote. He said, "I submit," by Dr. King, he said, "I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust, and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustices, is in reality expressing the highest respect for the law." These ideas Dr. King preached about didn't stop there. He practiced what he preached. He didn't just talk about getting arrested to fill the jails. He was arrested. He didn't just talk about risking safety. His home was bombed. He didn't just talk about losing everything, including your own life, to be a catalyst for change. He gave his life. I think if Dr. King were here today, he would look us straight in the eye and beg us not to pay honor to him, but to rather give the honor to those who are suffering from the injustices by standing up for them. He gave his ounce of practice to liberate those held captive. I want to invite you to find a way to practice. Maybe your ounce of practice looks like joining me on a trip to the border to leave water on the trails for migrants as they cross the desert to prevent unnecessary death. Maybe you call and write your politicians and share with them what just immigration reform looks like to you. Maybe you join me and about 30 others every month as we stand in solidarity outside a Denver detention facility and we pray and remember those being held and their affected families. Maybe you drop the term illegal immigrant or illegal alien from your vocabulary. These are dividing and dehumanizing ways to describe immigrants. No person is illegal. I've committed an illegal act before. I think we probably all have, speeding. And when people look at me, they don't say, "You're an illegal driver," right? Maybe they've broken an unjust law. No human being made in the image of God should be described as being illegal. Dr. King was indeed a man whose strong words against injustices were followed by action. Simply offering big speeches and making grandiose statements were not in his character. He acted on the words he spoke. His actions were bold, they were loud, and they often scraped against the social norms of his time. How will you scrape against the social norms of your time? Dr. King found his way. Find yours. Remember what Gandhi said, "An ounce of practice is worth more than tons of preaching." An ounce alone is an ounce. When we collect all the ounces of our individual work together, we will see justice in this world. Thank you.